Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another episode of Hot Mess Life Coach with me, your host, a hot mess and a life coach, Brian Hogan. I'm so happy to have you guys with me today. You folks with me, trying to get away from using the word guys, although that's going to be very, very, very hard because it's ingrained in me since childhood. Anyhow, today what I would like to talk to you all about is how to make decisions that you won't regret. This is the show for people who are trying to get it together while the world seems to fall apart. And like I always say, it just seems to fall apart because that's an illusion. The world is not falling apart. We are going through birth pangs as we birth a new level of human consciousness, a transformation of human consciousness to one that is more coherent, more collected, more unified, and more guided by love. That's my personal belief, and that's where we're headed. So keep trying to get it together while the world seems to fall apart. And today, in that vein, I'd like to talk to you all about how to make decisions that you won't regret. So the first question then is, how do we make decisions? And the short answer is we make decisions emotionally. Yeah, we like to think that we do it rationally, but in reality, we do not. It's why advertising works. It's why puppy dog eyes work. Oh, could I please have that? Please. It's why all forms of manipulation work. It's why it all works. These forms of manipulation are manipulating emotions to get us to make decisions. And sometimes we regret some of them. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. There was a study done to figure out the impact of specific assessments and interventions on decision making. It was like targeting positive psychology in employment and job development contexts. But here's what the study had to say. So I'm just going to read you a little blip from it. Results across the studies indicated small to moderate impacts of the assessment and interventions on decision making and engagement outcomes. Conceptually, there are thematic areas of potential overlap, although they are limited in the explicit integration of theory in supported decision making, positive psychology, disability, and employment. So the conclusion that the researchers reached was that they needed additional scholarship in this area that focuses on theory development and integration as well as empirical work. And they're saying they need additional scholarship because the studies that they did do, what was it? Small to moderate impacts for trying to help people make decisions rationally. So it says such work should examine the potential utility of considering positive psychological interventions when planning for career development activities to enhance positive outcomes related to decision-making, self-determination, and other positive psychological constructs. What this essentially means is that it was not clear that any of the assessments or interventions that were tried or studied had any real outcome or impact whatsoever when it comes to helping people make decisions rationally. So, despite all the science and all the intervention, emotions still seem to rule the day because decisions are made emotionally. They always have been. Marketers and salespeople depend on this unshakable truth from that emanates from this ancient understanding. That's why you'll buy a bobblehead of Boba Fett instead of saving up to buy organic vegetables. Don't feel shame. It's the human condition. We all do this, but it is not a foregone conclusion. In coaching, we have this tool that we call the body compass. It comes from the Martha Beck Institute and the Wayfinder coaching model. And it's about learning to tune into your bodily sensations as a way to override the culturally trapped and traumatized brain when making decisions. The mind-body connection, also known as heart-brain coherence in some circles, is a way to do just that. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of heart-brain coherence, and then I'm going to give you guys an exercise that you can do on your own that only takes a few minutes. You can do it as often as you want to bring your brain and your heart into alignment so that decision-making is clearer to you and that you can override and regulate emotions and override the emotional decision-making mechanism and start making decisions that are in tune with and align with your heart and your body compass. So the heart is like the central intelligence of the body, of the spirit, not the brain. The brain is just the CPU. For me, the analogy is like, the brain is like the little heavy thing that sits on your desk that takes up a bunch of space, but the heart is the Wi-Fi connection. The The heart is where all of the juice actually is. It's where the information flows from first. So when we go to therapy or talk with others to try and solve problems, it's the outside perspective that helps us see possible solutions, because the heart, so that's the thing, the outside perspective, like popping out of our brain and getting into someone else's brain in that situation, helps us see a way forward. But because the heart is also an autonomous system within the body from the other systems at work, it can perform a similar function when you slow down and take the time to listen to your heart. It sounds cliche, but we get these platitudes like follow your heart, listen to your heart, trust your gut, because there's actually some ancient wisdom embedded in this idea that you can listen to your heart. And it doesn't mean listen to your heart in some poetic, metaphorical way. It means literally listen to your heart, which is what I'm going to teach you guys how to do today, you folks. And it also means trust your gut. Doesn't just mean like trust some intuitive feeling. It means the gut, which is actually science has now shown is lined with the same kind of neuronal cells that are in your brain. So there's like a gut brain. So the gut has this way of thinking and reasoning and logicking stuff out. It just doesn't know English the same way your brain does, and neither does your heart. And so your heart and your gut give you the intuitive nudges in the form of sensations, in the form of feelings, not emotions, but feelings, like bodily feelings, bodily sensations. And in our culture, we're very much disconnected from bodily sensations. We write them off as like something we need to go see the doctor about, rather than something we can tune into to get guidance and information from. But that's exactly what they are. They are a way to get guidance and get information. So by practicing heart breathing, you can bring your emotional intelligence and your decision making into harmony, which helps you then to avoid decisions you might regret. Another benefit of harnessing your heart is its literal power. So there's a lot of research out there right now to show that the heart has 60 times the energy of your brain. So like I'm talking about electromagnetic energy, like 60 times as much. So instead of trying to process your problems with your brain alone, you can pair it with your heart. That's the technique that I'm going to show you all later how to do. So it's like Tony Robbins uses this analogy. It's like swapping a bicycle for a rocket. Those emotional decisions that you've been debating for weeks, the problem at work that's making everything challenging, by breathing in your heart for 2 minutes, you'll find the answers you need, because you can tune into your bodily sensations. You can tune into your bodily connection. It's already there. And with some practice, emotional decision-making will become less and less daunting, because you can make these decisions that are implicitly decided by emotions instead through sensations. So then your ability to make decisions becomes sensational, because you're doing it through sensations in your body. So we can regulate our emotions by bringing our heart and our mind into coherence. But before we get into how to do that, I want to talk about regret itself. What is the nature of regret? So according to an article on berkeleywellbeing.com, regret is a self-focused negative emotion, and it's about something that happened or has been done by us. So we feel bad because we did or didn't do something we believe we should or should not have done. The thing is, regret often includes self-blame, because when we are looking at regret, we're looking at our own role, essentially our decision-making process, and what that decision, how it played into the scenario that we now regret. So to regret something means we disagree with a past decision that we have made. Our present self now disagrees with a past decision. And because we disagree with a past decision, we experience regret. Maybe we decided not to take an opportunity that would have benefited us, or maybe we decided to break up with somebody and now we miss them. But based on what we know now, our past decision seems like the wrong ones. The opposite of regret is like a remorseless feeling of satisfaction, of like having made what we consider to be the correct decisions, the right choices for us. Maybe the airplane we were supposed to be on crashes, and we feel in this like overwhelming sense that we made the right choice. Or maybe we break up with somebody and we move on quickly to the love of our life. And so overall, we look back at our past decisions and we say, those decisions paved the way for what I wanted. And so we don't experience regret. We experience satisfaction. So either way, whether it's regret or whether it's satisfaction, it is linked intrinsically to your ability to make decisions in the past, to past decision making. Regret and decision making go hand in hand. There was a recent meta-analytic study that looked at like the really like common causes of regret. And what that research showed, for Americans anyway, is that the 6 biggest regrets involve the following domains: education, career, romance, parenting, self-improvement, and leisure. And there were some less frequently reported regrets also that include finance, family, health, friends, spirituality, and community. So you can see regret can sort of pervade all the different areas of our lives. And because it's regret, it's not super pleasant. Like, we don't love regretting stuff. So I want to show you how to make decisions that you won't regret, that can help you to avoid regret going forward. So more specifically, this study showed that people say things like they regret missed educational opportunities. They regret failing to seize the moment, not spending enough time with friends and family, missing romantic opportunities, rushing into something too soon. That's me right here. Or like unwise romantic adventures. So here's like a twist of irony with regret, is that the more opportunities we have, the more chances we have for regret, the greater our chances of regret. So if opportunities are denied to us or out of reach, we'll experience that as anger, as frustration, as injustice. But we don't usually regret it because that's on society, that's on you, that's on the other guy. The situation's out of our control. However, when we're given opportunities and it becomes our call, and it's up to us to take advantage of the opportunities or not take advantage of the opportunities, we regret it. We regret it intensely if we don't do so, or if we do so and it turns out badly. So the researchers in this case are kind of speculating that the reason why education specifically is something many people regret is because we can always go back to school. And so because the opportunity is always there, it's very easy to regret not doing it. I mean, that doesn't apply to everybody, because you when you tune into your body, when you tune into your sensations, you'll get clear signals about whether school is right or wrong for you, whether anything is right or wrong for you. And when you learn to weigh those decisions you're trying to make against your attunement to your body, against the connection to your internal sensations, you can start moving forward, making decisions regret-free. So in this modern world, we have like a gazillion options for everything. And so, as well as opportunities, having piles of options often also leads to more regret, according to the science. So instead of enjoying the things we have, we're aware that there's many other things that we could have had, or some things that we didn't choose, or we chose this and not this. And so because of that, because of options, we end up regretting things. Even if we were satisfied with the choice we made, we actually let ourselves regret it anyway, because there was other choices that we did not make. So like, oh, why did I buy this pair of jeans instead of that pair of jeans? Like, why did I decide to go on this date with this person when I could have ended up finding somebody better on a dating app, or and on and on. So this paradox of having excessive choice can actually make us less happy and more regret prone. But we live in the society of excessive choice. So we have to figure out how to navigate that. We're not going to change society and pretend we don't have the choices we have. We have them. Here we are. This is what it is. So how can you navigate this society of choices, which could actually be a huge blessing, without falling into regret all the time? Something else about regret is that it's not time limited. You can experience regret instantaneously. Like, you say something insensitive and you hurt somebody's feelings, and like, oof, boom, regret, or you study for a test and you're not sure if you did well, and then 2 weeks later you get your grade back and it's not what you wanted. So then there's slightly delayed regret. Or sometimes regret can be like years away. Like you're going into a dead-end job that you've now held for a decade, and it's really thankless, and it's pulled you farther and farther away from your heart and your true calling and your true love. And so you start to regret not getting the education you needed, or not taking the other opportunity back in your 20s. And that's like a regret that can come decades later, years later. So regret, I hate to say this, but regret is timeless. It doesn't have an expiration date, but there is a way out of it, and there's a way to avoid it going forward. So the things that we're most likely to regret, it turns out, are the things that we did not do. The regrets of action are short term, according to these scientific studies. Like when you do something and you think later, I shouldn't have done that, you regret it, but that regret dissipates rather quickly because there's nothing for your imagination to latch on and say, like, what would have happened if? Because you know, you tried it and it sucked. And so you regret it, but you move on quickly. When you don't do things, regrets of inaction, they're stronger and they persist for longer. So like, oh, I should have taken that trip, or I should have asked that person out. I should have gone to college. These regrets last longer because we haven't done something, and our mind can continue to wonder and wonder and wonder and ruminate over how it might have gone had we done the thing. When we don't take the action, our imagination fills in the blanks about how awesome the outcome could have been. This is mental torture, and this leads to our mind generating more and more regret as we compare our current situation with all the hypothetical what ifs that could have been the alternate realities had we made a different choice. So this brings us to some methods for how to deal with regret. And we all have to live with the past decisions we made. There's no way around it. They're your decisions and you're still alive, so you're living with them. Whether those decisions were to do something or not do something, they're still yours to live with. So the best thing we can do now to live with this regret is to try to prevent making similar decisions again that result in similar feelings of regret. So before we get into how to make decisions and avoid regret, I want to give you a couple small practices for how to take the edge off current regret. So the practice of acceptance. Accepting negative emotions like regret, according to a study by Shallcross, Boland, and Moaz in 2010. I butchered that name. Sorry, Moaz. But, I don't know how to say your name. Accepting negative emotions like these can decrease the emotions over time, and it can decrease their impact. So regret is about the past, and there's nothing we can do about the past. So because there's nothing we can do about it, you can actually go back to episode 2 on authentic happiness, and there are some techniques in there for how to rewire our brain to look at the past from a different perspective, which is the same as this, acceptance. And so then it doesn't change your past, but it changes your perspective on the past and can help you to accept where you're at, to accept the past for what it is, to accept the present for what it is. And that is a good strategy, a good, healthy strategy for reducing the effects of regret in your life. But if you don't change the types of actions that are continuing to cause you new regret, you're just going to keep experiencing more regret. So continuing to make decisions from the mind, from logic, from trying to weigh things out, and then in the end, just making the decision emotionally anyway, because that's what we all do, is going to continue leading to regret. So it's like we pretend we're making a logical decision and we do the pros and cons and this and that, and then we just decide based on emotions willy-nilly at the end. That's the process humans go through. Logic, forget all that emotion. And the decision is made. And then boom, we oftentimes regret it. Unless it just really works out great, So here's another practice you can do. And it's just basically like regularly asking yourself. It's a form of slowing down. This is a precursor to the heart-brain coherence technique I'm going to teach you in a minute. So this is asking yourself, will I regret this? And you can't always know the answer to that, but training yourself to stop and say, will I regret this? It helps you before deciding to do something or not do something, to tune into the body, to figure out sensationally, like, ooh, like as I think about making this decision, do I feel lighter? Do I feel heavier? Does imagining the future scenario where I've made this decision or not made this decision seem more likely to lead to regret than the other one? Because not doing something is oftentimes a more regrettable action, you can lean towards the side of saying yes to life as often as you can when it feels aligned with your true nature. So you can reduce the potential opportunities for long-term regrets. You want to lean into what life is offering you. Say yes, try it out, eat the swordfish, whatever it is, and just say yes. Okay, so this brings us to how we can make decisions that we won't regret. And this is, there's a 6-step process that's called it's from the HeartMath Institute, and it's called the heart-brain coherence technique, or I think they've named it now personal coherence. So like I mentioned, the heart has 60 times more energy emitting from it than the brain. It's a way more powerful organ in that sense. And so we can harness its power to bring our brain into emotional regulation. And regulating our emotions is the way to override emotional decision making. When our emotions are dysregulated, which is the state most of us are in all the time in this workaday, production oriented, rush, rush, rush to have value culture, we're living pretty much consistently in a dysregulated emotional state. Our nervous systems are haywire and all over the place. And so heart coherence is a state of cooperative alignment between the heart, mind, emotions, and physical systems, which is where the sensations come from. This is the key aspect. So this alignment expands into personal, social, and global coherence because we're all a fractal of one another. So the more of us that can lean into heart and mind coherence, the more likely it is to ripple out into our friends and our family and our immediate surroundings, and then so on and so on and so on until the world becomes a more coherent place. So that's just me getting grandiose and wanting to save the world again, but I do believe that's the way forward for us. So here's what the HeartMath Institute has to say about heart coherence. Learning to activate qualities of the heart, such as care, kindness, and acceptance, increases our personal coherence. This results in less mental and emotional pressure, more effective choices, and increased resilience. Because our personal coherence is communicated through our energetic field, it has an uplifting impact on others. The proven benefits of coherence also extend to our social and global communities. Social coherence accesses a collective heart intelligence that helps lift group effectiveness, facilitating authentic communications and easier access to solutions for more harmonious outcomes. As individuals and groups practice increasing their heart coherence, it paves the way for a collective momentum that has the potential to transform and uplift consciousness on a global scale. Global coherence. So the HeartMath Institute is painting a grand picture of how one individual coming into coherence can start to ripple out and ripple out and ripple out and ripple out and change the world. So whether you just want to change the world or whether you just want to make better decisions, bring your heart and your brain and your physical systems into coherence. So I'm just going to give you a quick story about regrets that I deal with. Okay, so to be fully transparent, I often regret the foods I eat. I consider myself to be a pretty healthy person. You know, I try to drink smoothies in the morning, or I used to anyway, like way more often, or I will eat oatmeal in the mornings. But sometimes I really have a lot of regret about the choices I make when it comes to food. Like, hello, 4 Rice Krispie treats yesterday. 4 of them. Like, that's way too many. Okay, 1 is too many sometimes in my opinion, but I had 4. And also I'm in a master coach training program. And one of the perks is like we have a retreat coming up in 2 weeks, like a virtual online retreat where we're all going to get together, and it's the culmination of this 7-month training program, and we're all going to have like a celebration together. And so the organization sent us a package from a company called Snack Magic, and we're supposed to save our Snack Magic box and eat all the snacks together while we're on Zoom together. And it's sort of a way of like mimicking the idea that there'd be some kind of buffet of treats there for us. So we're all in like, so bring us into like a kind of coherence, like a snack coherence, if you will. And my Snack Magic box is already gone. Okay, I ate it all, like every single speck of it, strawberry wafers. And I have a niece and nephew upstairs who are 8 and 4 who I could have shared it with, but I did not. I ate them all by myself in the basement. I'm basically like sugar drunk over the last couple of days, and part of me regrets that. My morning lattes, sometimes I regret those because they're just piles of sugar that I don't need, my body doesn't need. I'm just as happy when I drink a fresh squeezed orange juice and it tastes better and it's good for you and it's nutrient packed. So the question then becomes, why do I keep doing it when I can't seem to handle my growing love handles? Emotions. That's why. When I tune into my body, when I'm going slower and not using food to seek comfort or food to be easy, you know, because processed food, sugary food, it tastes better. It's easier. Like if I overbook myself and then I feel like a little dysregulated, then I want food to calm me down. I want food to comfort me. I want food to taste good. And so when I can slow down, when I can regulate my emotions, I become more clear. And when that happens, my body speaks louder, and I'll go for the salad that my body actually craves instead of the sugar that my mind is craving because of its emotional connection to like, oh, this is just gonna take the need for hunger away, and it's easy, so just eat it and be done, and then go back to being a workaholic or whatever it is. So I'm just sharing that with you to be fully transparent. And this is an example of a story about regret, but it is driven by emotions. It is not driven by logic, and it is not driven by tuning into my heart, brain, body connection. So when I do tune into my heart, brain, body connection, I eat healthier, way healthier, and it's way easier to eat healthier. And I tend to not overbook myself because I'm clearer about that too. So you can make this ability to not make decisions, to make decisions that you don't regret, spills over into all the domains of your life. And then suddenly your whole life is filled with positive decisions that don't cause regret. So here's the process. It's 6 steps. Step 1, breathe and calm yourself. And you can do this in whatever way you choose. You can do long breathing. You can do like the Wim Hof breathing. It doesn't matter. It's just about using some breathing to calm yourself down. And when you feel your heart rate slowing, when you feel yourself calming, you move into step 2. Step 2 is to choose something you appreciate and radiate the feeling of appreciation towards that thing for about 2 minutes. So if you're a parent, you can think about one of your children. You can think about a favorite place, like an old dream home. You can whatever it is that you really appreciate. You can think about your relationship to the divine. You can think about a best friend from high school. And the trick here is not just to think about that person or that thing or that place, but to radiate the feeling of appreciation towards that person, place, or thing in your mind for about 2 minutes. This helps open the heart more and increase your effectiveness when you start sending care to the entire planet or a specific situation, which comes in a later step. So it's just about cultivating an appreciation for something by not just thinking about it, but actually visualizing yourself radiating like this beam of appreciation energy towards the person, place, or thing. Step 3 is evoke a genuine feeling of compassion and care for the planet. So this isn't about being like a green environmental nut or anything like that. I don't mean in a save the planet, like you have to recycle kind of way. I mean, it's fine, recycle, whatever. But what I'm saying is you live on the planet supports you, it's your home. So it's illogical not to feel some kind of gratitude for it in some way. So just evoke that genuine sense of gratitude for the place that you live, for the environment that supports you. Step 4, breathe the feelings of compassion and care going out and in from your heart. So it's like with your eyes closed, you breathe normally, but you imagine the breath going in and out through your heart, through your chest. You just feel it going that way. That accentuates and activates that 60 times electromagnetic power of your heart. Imagine compassion and care flowing out the way a river flows out to sea. Or you could imagine compassion radiating out like a beam of light with the rhythm of the breath. You can actually pick any visual image you want. Just determine what is right for you, what resonates for you. As you do this in step 4, whatever image comes up for you, it's your image and it's fine. And you use that image to imagine breathing in and out from your heart. And then step 5, radiate this genuine feeling of compassion and care to the planet or to a specific area of immediate need that you really care about. So that could just be the planet in general and you're enveloping it in love, or it could be the war in Ukraine, or it could be the US elections, or it could be your friend's stubbed toe. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's something you can genuinely feel compassion and generate the compassion for. And then step 6, imagine yourself joining with other healers who are, just imagine them in their places all around the world, practicing this heart, brain, body coherence technique, and join with them in your mind and in your heart to participate in the healing process and generate peace. This is the HeartMath, heart coherence technique. And when you practice this, it takes like 5 minutes. You can do this anytime you want. It will help regulate your nervous system, regulate your emotions. And then when you ask yourself a question, what is the decision I should make about X? Or what is the decision I should make about Y? You will be very attuned to your body. And then you can feel the physical sensations in your body and like a lightness, a bubbliness, like an electricity. And you'll have an inner knowing that will tell you, is this sensation saying, yes, go do this? Or is this like a heaviness, a crippling, a scratching, a graveling, a jail feeling? And then that might be saying, no, rethink it, or no, not now. And so tune into your heart-brain coherence, then tune into your bodily sensations, and then go forward having fun, making decisions that you will no longer regret. That's it. That's what I've got for you today. So thank you so much for tuning in. And whether you're watching this now or from the future or listening to it on the podcast, I am so happy and appreciative that you are here. And if you know anyone who might benefit from what you just heard, then please share this video or tag them in it or tweet it or repost it or whatever we do out in social media land. And if you want to learn more about me and what I do and my coaching, you can do that at thebrianhogan.com for more information or to apply for coaching. In the meantime, I will see you all here next week at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, be hot, be messy, and be blessed. Thank you so much.